hear everything? Yeah, we're good now. Good now, okay. All right, we'd like to call to order the September 9th regular monthly meeting of the Spalding County Board of Elections and Voter Registration. If everybody would, please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices, and join me while I stand for the invocation of the pledge.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for allowing us to gather this evening to conduct some business for the county and to hopefully build it to be a better place. Bless each home and family represented here tonight, and may we do your will. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We don't have any citizen comments tonight, so I'm going to not read that. And first up is adoption of the agenda. Unless we have any amendments to the agenda, a motion would be in order to approve the minutes as written.
Approve the minutes, the agenda.
Agenda, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, thank you, Lee. All right, Lee. And all right, second. All in favor? All right, we've got an agenda. Yeah, next up's actual minutes, Lee. Thank you for that. My eyes skipped now. All right. If everybody wants to turn to their section in the binders and review, if you haven't already gotten a chance.
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
All right, got a motion. Lee, second. All in favor? 4-0. Okay, we've got minutes approved. Next up, Kim, is the election supervisor report. You're up.
Good evening, board members. Tonight we are recognizing 5 years of service of our office assistant, one of our office assistants, Mary Passmore. Mary has served Mary has served the Board of Elections, Spalding County Board of Elections and Voter Registration for 5 years. I was going to have a real eloquent speech, Mary, but I'm just going to speak from the heart. When I arrived in August of 2021, Mary was the standalone in the Office of Elections and Voter Registration. I cannot express my gratitude enough for Mary's service, her dedication to the process, and to the office and to the office staff. Her work is outstanding. There's been several times that I receive phone calls forwarded to me that Mary answered in the office, and they said, would you please tell, and Mary, I probably forget to tell you this a lot of times because I've moved on to the next thing, but would you please let whoever is answering your phone, let them know that they just do an outstanding job. It's so courteous and it's refreshing. I actually just had that about a week ago. And so with that, I just want to express the gratitude on behalf of not just myself, but the staff and the Board of Elections and Registration for Mary's service to the election and voter registration process. So Mary, would you come up? And I just want to say thank you to all of our poll officers. I'm trying to move to poll officers instead of poll workers, but to each and every one of you that came out tonight for Mary. Just thank you for showing that gratitude. All right. Okay, so now we're going to return to our regular scheduling and pick it up with Sandra Hardy with the voter registration report. Okay? Sandy, I'm just going to shift some of my things right there. Okay.
Good evening. It's good to see everybody here tonight. I'm going to give a quick, brief update on voter registration. This is going to be time serving August 5th into September the 9th today. And this morning we had 52,875 registered voters in Spalding County. Kelly and I have been working diligently on our dashboard tiles, and we have processed 2,471 applications through DDS this month. We had 18 online voter registration applications, 27 applications from my voter page, 66 vitals, and 0 felons processed. Other processing, we had 49 mail-in walk-in applications and 9 requests to cancel. So in summary, we've had 319 new voters in Spalding County, 451 that have transferred to Spalding from another county, 423 that were address changes within county, 76 name changes, and 1,296 that were updates to their registration with no changes. We've been working also on our list maintenance, our confirmation notices. We've talked about this last month. So our NGE, the no activity for 2 general federal elections, those were mailed out on July 10th. They've been coming into the office mostly as returned mail. And we can confirm from the returned mail that 816 of those voters have been moved from inactive to canceled. And then we're working with no contact mailers. Those were sent out July 22nd. The 40-day clock expired on the 21st of August. And we've had 122 of those that were moved from active to inactive status. We just recently sent out, actually the Secretary of State is sending out our Eric Cross-State moved out-of-state mailers, and there should be approximately 110 of those placed on the 40-day clock. If we don't hear from them, then they will be moved to inactive status. National change of address, those came into our office today. They have to be mailed out by September the 11th. And those are going to be within county changes, out of county changes, and out of state changes. We're reporting 1 reef ticket this month. It's actually continuation from last month. We had an issue on DDS. Some of our applications were coming in with incorrect signatures. They were actually other people's signatures, and that has been resolved. All were corrected. Any questions?
Yeah, I had a question on the request to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Can you clarify that?
The request to cancel, that's when the voter sends in a request form and wants to be taken off the voter roll.
Okay.
Yes.
And so to capture, the report's clear on the numbers who have been added to the rolls, but what's the total number who have been removed from the rolls because they've moved to other counties or whatever? What's that total number?
Now, I don't have the total on MOCs right now. I did pull the report this morning. It was a little vague. It needs tweaking, but I'll get that information for you next month.
Okay. Yeah, it'd
Okay.
probably be good, like in the total number of registered voters, like for the month, how many were added and then how many were taken off
Right.
the rolls, just to give us an idea of that, fluctuation. And it'd be interesting to see if it correlates with actually, is Spalding County
Right.
seeing an influx of people moving here, or are we seeing people move
Well, I
out?
can tell you that, 319 new voters were added to the
Yep.
voter roll.
Yep.
And then 451 were transferred in. So, but I'll get the information for you for the transfers out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Anything else?
Thank you, Cindy.
Just want to follow up real quick on MUDOCs. This has been a work in progress on the state side as well. It used to be very simple. MUDOC reports were sent to the counties, and we knew had moved out of our county. We had a record of it. So we actually, I think, in collaboration with another county, have figured out a way to pull a specific report. Well, it's changed again. So that's why I just want a clear understanding there, that it's not just a report working on being changed. It's working with the continuous changes of Jarvis in and of itself. Just a reminder, Jarvis is the voter registration and election system. So anyway, just wanted to add a little bit there for some clarity on MUDOCs. All right. So tonight, I just want to cover real quick the November 4th, 2025 election coming up. It's the general municipal special election for we have a special in Spalding County, as well as the statewide Public Service Commission election that's affecting all counties of Georgia. I do want to, since the last meeting, the qualification has taken place, and I want to go over those qualified candidates for you. City Commission District 1, Ronnie Lowe and Cynthia Reed Ward, incumbent. City Commission District 3, Holly Murray, incumbent. Dan Wolf. City Commission District 5, Zachary Fuller. Truman L. Tinsley III, incumbent. City Commission District 5 is Rodney McCord, incumbent, and Jacqueline Tumblin. We did also conduct, through the IGA agreement, we have one with the City of Griffin and City of Orchard Hill. We conducted City of Orchard Hill's qualification as well. The only candidate to qualify in that election was Brian Hayes for the council seat at large, for one of the city council seats at large. So he, being the only candidate to qualify, is deemed as voted for himself, and therefore the law allows you to cancel that election, and he moves forward and will begin that term January of 2027. Okay. Any questions? Ballot build, the second reading of the election project file. We've already turned in all of our information for the November 5th election, and the state has built the file out, sent it to us. We noted corrections to their file, sent that back to them. I'm saying that right. So now we have our second file, and we will begin that proofing tomorrow. And so by midday tomorrow, a little bit after, we will have if there are any corrections, hopefully they're not, we will have send that sign off back to the state, and should have our actual November ballot project file. I'm guessing by end of next week, that'll be up to the state when they want to send that file to us. But I feel that we're ahead of the game, and just a reminder that proofing is an in-depth process. We read 3 times. A team consists of 2 people. We have 3 teams, and ballots are read and spelled, every single word of the ballot itself. So just want to remind you, the board, what we do to ensure that we do all we can that Spalding County ballots are correct. That also includes checking precinct combos ballot styles to ensure that our voters receive the correct ballot. I just want to remind one more time, I know I've been reading this all year long at several meetings, but it's very important. Important information for elderly and disabled voters requesting an absentee ballot by mail. Always, please phone our office if you have any questions, but I'm going to read this statement per the Georgia Secretary of State Elections Division. Voters who are elderly and disabled are normally entitled to make one absentee application, which rolls over to all elections in the cycle. However, for any special primary runoff, special election, or special election runoff, voters in this category are required to file separate and distinct applications for an absentee ballot. Any elderly or disabled voter, as described in OCGA 21-2-381A1G and SCB Rule 183-1-14.01, 1 and 2, will have to request an absentee ballot for the special primary on, that says June 17th, I apologize, for November election of this year. That was a copy and paste, sorry about that. And possible special election on, runoff election on December 2nd. We don't really see that happen, but you never know, and you never say never in elections. So that's just important information. So just remember, absentee applications did not roll over this year. Any questions you have, please phone our office or just come by and see us. And we have educated voters throughout this process and throughout the year. So now I want to pause and introduce a new staff member, Stephanie Jones. Stephanie is to my left right here, and she is our new elections assistant. Stephanie she's a native from Spalding County, and she is coming to us with 13 years of administrative assistance and finance experience, which is going to be very advantageous in assisting me with different functions and processes and procedures of the office. So we're glad to have you, Stephanie. Thank you. Precinct consolidation is listed there on your report. That's actually going to be covered in old business because it has been presented to you before. But I've went back to the drawing board one more time and brought some data together for tonight for us to look at, and we'll look at that in old business. Remodeling of newly acquired space. I continue to work with LJA, and the floor plans for the newly acquired space are a work in process as we speak. So I've met and actually spoken, emailed with Mr. Graham with LJA, and they are actually working on a drawing. I'm feeling very confident about it. Again, board, if you have any questions, concerns, you want to know what my thoughts or what the plan is, please come by the office and I would be glad to review that with you. Announcements. We have a booth at the Kiwanis Fair this year, again, as we did last year, as an outreach to the Spalding community with voter registration and election information. I do also want to remind the board that the QR code will be removed from the ballots as the law states effective July 1st next year. So I will provide more information at next month's meeting that I acquired from attending Gavrio. But the precinct consolidation was my project right now, focused on that and the floor plan. So, but do want you to be aware that as of right now at Gavrio, there was no plan moving forward that was shared with us on what that is going to look like affecting the November 2026 election. And that concludes my report. Any questions?
I don't think so, Kim. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to stay up there for your presentation,
I can stay right here.
you can just stay right there, right?
Next?
Because I think that's next. So, next up under old business is, the precinct consolidation.
Okay.
So, Kim?
We can go to the maps. So in front of you, you can either look here or you can look in front of you. I want to look at the maps with you first. So if you'll just hang in there, then we're going to go to the data. Okay. So the maps that you will see are in this order. City precincts current, city precincts proposal, county precincts current, county precincts proposal. Okay, so we're going to start with the city. I'm sorry, Stephen, we can go back to the city. There's just a couple of things I want to point out here. There are 6, even though it goes to 7, there are only 6 precincts within the city of Griffin. Just a few things I want to note, just food for thought really, is that if you look at precinct 5, which is your west side and north side of the city there, it's in green. If you look way to the west, that part out there, we have voters going from there all the way up to the north part of precinct 5 to vote at UGA. So just something to think about there. And so there's some other things that we're looking at, but what I'm going to show you next is what I believe is to be the best idea for the city of Griffin precincts. So if you look here, what we did was we just took the line, and the line follows, the division of precinct 1 and 2 straight down, and it reduces city precincts from 6 precincts to 2 precincts. Now, I want to address, since we have a lot of poll workers here tonight, I need to address this. Does that mean poll workers, poll officers are going away? No, we value our poll workers. Will we need as many? Will we have to struggle as much when vacation time comes around? This will help many, many different areas, and we must be good stewards of the taxpayers' money. So there are several reasons, and I'll share more of those with you later. This is the actual proposal for the City of Griffin voting precincts. And Second Baptist Church would remain Precinct 1, Second Baptist Church. And then Senior Citizen Center would become Precinct 2, Senior Citizen Center. Okay, this will also allow us to get our numbers in order the way they should be and not go all the way up to 21, but really have 17 precincts. Okay, so that's in this also. Now I want to move to the county current precincts. So this is what we currently have. There are 11 precincts in the county, and I am submitting a proposal to reduce that to 7 with a reduction of 14 precincts. So you'll see here, if you look at the top west of the county, that is consolidating 13 and 14, which will become Precinct 3. And my thinking, we read left to right. So you would go Precinct 3, Precinct 4, you'll come back 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, yeah. So also consolidating, if you look in the southwest part of the county, that is formerly Precinct 12, 10, and 8. So I'm looking at consolidating. My proposal is to consolidate all of those and push them to Oak Hill Baptist Church. If you'll look to the southeast of the county, that was formerly, or is, currently Precinct 11 and 20. That gives you a clear vision there. And to combine those into one precinct, and it would serve Precinct 11, First Presbyterian Church would serve as that precinct for both of those. It would not be Precinct 11 then. It would be Precinct 9. Okay? Any questions on that? And then we'll go to the data. I want to show you figures now. Yes, sir.
Just curiosity, how did you determine what polling places would serve the precincts? I mean, obviously on the city map, it's a little bit better than the county, but the county, like in Precinct 8, if you live over down the Flint River, you got to travel all the way the whole distance to the county.
Are you talking about Precinct 12? Not 8, but 12, because 8 is fairly close to Oak Hill. You mean Precinct 12?
I'm looking at the map here.
Okay, so if we can go back to the current.
The proposed map.
The new 8.
The proposed map.
Okay, the new 8. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's go back. Okay.
Precinct 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta go all the way from the Flint River, all the way nearly about half the distance to the county to get to your voting precinct. Did you not find a voting precinct a little bit more central to it?
No. There's literally not hardly anything out. In fact, when I came in 2021, I believe it was 2022, that Liberty Hill Baptist Church came to me, and they could not, for lack of leadership there at that time, they could not hold the election there anymore. So I had to quickly find a precinct for Precinct 12. But real quick, I want to say, if you look where people would go in the proposal to 10 Oak Hill Baptist Church, they were only going about 5 to 6 miles west to Liberty Springs Baptist Church. So all those people way out west were coming into Liberty Springs Baptist Church anyway. So it was only because that precinct was only moved because we had to find something. That is currently 12 is Fairview Baptist Church. They have been really good to us there. Is it my ideal voting precinct? Not the way I would like for it to be, as far as real easy access. But so that is why we were pushing to 10. 10 has plenty of space, and they were already going to Liberty Hill for years and years and years, which is not very far over from Oak Hill Baptist Church. So
Well,
But to answer your question, when you asked me, Mr. Howell, what was it based on? It's based on availability. It's based on the precinct location, accessibility, the layout for disability, those who are handicapped. Does it have growing space? So that was my main focus in finding what was best for the city of Griffin and Spalding County.
Yep, and I don't know the population data points in 12, but in the far east of 12, they were driving the same distance that you're bringing up, Lee. Is you're just flip flopping the two. Matter of fact, the ones on the east side of 12 are going to be very happy because now they no longer have to drive to the west coast of Spalding County to get to their precinct.
It is. So, but let's look, if I can, and I'll be glad to answer any other questions at this point, but I want to look at why we are considering this too. We know there are some reasons, but I want you to see numbers too, because numbers do not lie. So if we can go to the Excel sheet, and I'm going to look at mine. So what I'm showing you here in the city precinct consolidation proposal, what I did for you here was I provided numbers that were for the November 2024 election, which was a presidential year. And then I also presented numbers to you in a 2023 municipal election with an e-splost on it, which was, unfortunately, but much smaller outturn or outcome or participation by the voters. So let's just look at this. And election day. In November 2024, 1,270 voters decided out of precincts 1, 5, and 6 to cast their votes on election day. I'm not going to read all the numbers to your right, but I broke it down for you. What precincts represent the numbers within that total. Election day, and then I want to move on down to 2024. But advanced voting, November 2024, 2,956 voters chose to advance voting. So you have 16% that turned out to the precinct on election day out of those 3 precincts, and you had 38% to turn out for advance voting. And then you had absentee by mail. We don't want to leave those out at 276. The breakdown is there to your right with 4% participation by absentee by mail for November 2024. Now look what happens, unfortunately, in a city municipal election. Excuse me, y'all. I'm losing my voice. With a less turnout. You have a total of November 2023 election with an e-splost on it, countywide, with the mayor race and 2 city commission seats. So the breakdown, 531, the breakdown's out to the right. Advanced voting, 371, the breakdown's out to the right. And absentee by mail, 15, the breakdown's out to the right. So if you see people are gravitating toward advanced voting, never want to belittle election day. I love election day, and if I wasn't in the business I'm in or in the work I'm in, I would be that election day voter. That's just me. But the figures don't lie, and people are turning out advance voting. And just a reminder that we voted 23,212 voters through advance voting in the November 2024 election. Okay. Any questions on precincts 1, 5, and 6 would be consolidated into one precinct, and that would be precinct 1, Second Baptist Church. I can go down through and read all these numbers to you, but still let's look. Precincts 2, 3, and 7 combined would be precinct 2, the Senior Citizen Center. I do want to share this orange box out to the right that I posted in every single box, but I want to explain it to you. What does it mean? Projection of processing voters. Well, Kim, I think a legitimate question would be, well, look, are you going to be able to process voters? If you have all of those come into one precinct, are you going to be able to do it? Well, so look what we did. There's 720 minutes in an election day. It takes, at the most, unless you have a very different situation, to process a voter at the poll pad no more than 2 minutes, many times less. So that would be 360 voters that one poll pad, if you want to say poll pad, or the poll worker would process in that full day. And at 6 poll workers stationed, and we can always put more if we needed to, in that polling precinct that covers 3 precincts, we could process 2,160 voters, which is way more than the election day turnout of 1,270 voters. It's more than double. Okay? Very, very, very doable. Let's move on to the second page, where we're talking about combining precincts 8, 10, 12 into one precinct, which would be called Precinct 8, Oak Hill Church. There, the figures are laid out for you in the percentage of turnout. You look at those percentages there. Election Day 2024, 1,246 people in 8, 10, and 12 voted on Election Day. How many voted during advance voting? 3,320. Again, more than double. Look on down to 13 and 14 combined in one precinct, Precinct 14, Sunnyside Methodist Church. Your percentages are there as follows. Again, advance voting more than leading the way. Last page for the county precincts 11 and 20 combined into one precinct, Precinct 9, First Presbyterian Church. There you have Election Day 2024, 923 people showed up at 3 precincts, whereas 2,730 people showed up and chose to vote on during advance voting. Now I want to move to the next page because we need to talk about money.
Let me ask you a question
Okay.
about advance voting.
Okay.
How many of those people actually come to or what percentage of those people that are advance voting come to the registration office and advance vote, and what percentage of those people mail ballot in?
Okay, if you'll flip back, it's broken down there for you.
Where?
Which precinct are you interested in? I mean,
Well, I'm just in general.
Okay. Well, if you want to flip back to,
Tell us what you're talking about, the advance
Tell us
voting.
what AB and ABM
ABM.
and what the acronyms stand for. That should help.
yes, so let me go over what those acronyms, I'm sorry, we're accustomed to them in the elections office. E-Day, Election Day, AV, advance voting. A lot of people know it as early voting. It's actually advance voting. ABM, absentee by mail. That's what that stands for. So if you look all the way out to your percentage, your percentages of the amount of voters that voted are listed right there.
Okay, so absentee or advance voting does not absentee. In other words, if you mail a ballot in, that's considered absentee voting.
That's absentee by mail. Absentee by mail. Yes, it is a form. Advance voting is also a form of absentee, but absentee by mail is separated out, and it's listed right there. ABM is absentee by mail.
It's not going to make a hell of beans. I guess my question is, if President Trump's proposal carries to eliminate by mail voting, it's not really going to affect our turnout that much.
Well, I can't speak to that. I mean, who knows
Well,
today what somebody's going to do in the.
Of the vote, they're going to turn absentee mail.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very low percentage.
It's not going to hurt you.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Based off of those numbers.
Right.
Yeah, based off of the numbers. Yeah.
No,
That's-
I wouldn't ask you to take sides on the issue. I was just saying, you know, that.
Oh no! I work in, Mr. Howell. I work in real time, and I'm thinking about what you're saying, and voters that do this one day may do something different another day. You never know, especially with the political.
Well, the last time I voted by mail was during COVID.
Okay.
Because I'm with you. I go to election day, vote at the polls.
That's great. That's great. So look, I want to move now to the page where we talk about money. Current election day staffing precinct costs. Now, please know this is an average because, poll workers will attest here that, well, we don't have 6 sometimes at our polling precinct. But this is taking a large presidential election, little bitty elections, and averaging out the workers and looking at it on the high end, okay? So current election day precinct staffing cost, and with your poll manager, your 2 assistant managers, your clerks, the setup cost that poll workers are paid the day prior to the election, and then the training cost. It costs for the precinct $1,550. If you multiply that at present number of precincts, which are 17, comes to $26,350. Now let's look at the proposed. Again, this is on the high side, and I believe that we could save, especially depending on what election, more than this. But I did it on the high side because we should. So that cost comes to $18,180 with 9 precincts. Flip the page, and we'll talk about more. Total taxpayer savings for precinct staffing per election. So if you subtract the page before, $26,350 minus $18,180, you come up with $8,170 that you're saving per election per precinct. Okay, or per election, I'm sorry. But 3 elections are about your minimum you're going to have, and many times or sometimes it's 4. It all depends on how the fiscal year falls and what elections you're having. So at 3 elections, at $8,170, you're at a $24,510 fiscal savings. At 4 elections, which we sometimes have, you're at a $32,680 savings at 9 precincts. So I want to talk about also other costs. Some of these we don't know until you do something you don't know. Sorry.
Real quick. So that's per. So is that per precinct or is that per?
So
I'm confused about that.
if you look at the page before,
okay,
you have the total of 17 precincts cost, which would be $26,350. And so if we consolidated, these are the costs broken down if we were to consolidate, and what it would cost, it would cost $20.20 per precinct with us, but only at 9 precincts.
So on the next page in blue, the 8170 is going from 17 precincts to 9.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's
Yes,
what was after. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So then at 3 elections, it shows you that per year, or 4 elections. So I want to talk about other costs, because it's not just poll officer cost or staffing costs that we're talking about. It affects a lot of things, and some of those things, security per precinct. It's average $13.37 per precinct, and this is an average because you have some deputies that make this and some that may make more with experience. Then you have overtime included. So what I did is I went middle ground, took that, multiplied it by 17 precincts, and I came up with and it comes up to $22,726. And I meant to round that, so we can say $22,727. If you multiply this same amount at 9 precincts, is $12,032, a difference in a savings of $10,695. Another savings cost would be signage. What do I mean by signage? If you ever walk into a precinct, there are things, many signs that we are mandated by law to supply within that precinct. So over time, that would be a cost savings if we are ready and prepare 9 precincts as opposed to 17 precincts. So when I say indeterminate, I can't really determine because I don't know what that's going to cost every single time, but we could determine it once it was done. Rental fee. Right now we pay County Line Methodist Church $150. If you multiply that by 3, you get $450 for the fiscal year. First United Methodist, $650. It has went a little bit above that, a little bit below it sometimes, but I'm averaging the $650 times the 3 elections. You're at $1,950. Truck, we pay for the truck rentals that deploy the equipment out to the precincts. I know that we can save at least 1 truck, and that's at $450. And you see the figures there. That would be a savings at 3 elections, $1,350. County labor for deployment. Why is that undetermined? Not everything comes directly out of the elections. Sometimes it may come out of public works, and so I may not see that. You have some things that come out of our budget, but it's all taxpayer money, and so that's to be taken into account. Public Works Election Day on call, that's another one of those things I've not seen a bill for. I think it just, Public Works They budget that, but it is a cost to the taxpayer. So what we do know, $14,445 are represented right here in this box. So if you take that and add that to the $32,680 on the high end, we're at $47,125 for one fiscal year. And so if you multiply that over and over, money adds up. And if you do a budget, it adds up really quick. So I want to go to the last page. Can we zoom that a little bit, Stephanie? So what are the reasons? First and foremost, I don't think any of us are unaware of the complaints that taxpayers are making and about their taxes, and we play a role in that, and in that we should be responsible. And that's why I did the in-depth research to provide to you the best I could, and I believe honestly it's going to be even a more savings than that, because I did wage on the higher end, because you want to be safe on those things. Reduction in precinct preparation. If you ever take time to walk through the office, we have huge precinct supply boxes, 17 of them, 18 including advanced voting, and all those are readied for election. So time saved is money earned. Streamlines the election process, saves time in various ways. Poll worker training, you're not training as many. Readiness, voter registration, ordering ballots. Right now we have to look at 17 precincts when we're ordering ballots, when we're proofing ballots. And if you can consolidate that down, that's a time saver. Increases efficiency in managing and staffing election night results. We process in 17 precincts. It's a time, it takes time if you do it right, and we'll only do it right. So, in times we have to make adjustments, and we learn from things that happen. We learn from those, but we move on. And so our goal is always to be efficient, but we don't want to be the last ones in out of 159 counties. But going from 17 to 9 would allow us a little bit more reporting results in a timely and accurate or efficient manner, I should say. May, June, and July are vacation months. The average age of poll workers, and this is okay, is 65 years of age or older. I don't want anything thrown out at me out there. But 65 years of age or older, and we are so thankful for every one of them. But they go places, they do things. And what I saw in June and July, how many polling precincts, 17 polling precincts that I had to juggle because everybody, it seemed like, was going on vacation, is an issue. It is real. And it's easy to say, well, you could go here and go there, but you want to build consistencies within precincts. Yes, we bring new people in, but that takes time to train and to learn, and you want to build that team. And if you're always having to change out teams because people are on vacation or going here, going there, it does become a challenge, and it is time consuming. So if we could reduce that to 9, that would be a time saver for us. But anyway, that concludes, and I'm sure I hadn't thought of everything, many of the reasons why I believe this proposal that I put before you tonight is a good proposal, and one that I believe the board should act on, but I'll leave it with you.
Does the state put out data, like I'll give you 2 examples. One is a ratio of precincts to population. I mean, that would be one indicator. And then the other data point would be what's the average throughput per precinct throughout the state of Georgia. So
what's the average what? I'm sorry.
The average throughput per
Okay.
precinct. So how many voters are processed through each precinct? Do they put out any data to give us an idea of what the rest of the state's average is?
Okay, but if I may ask a question, I think that's an interesting point, but how does it affect Spalding County?
Well, I'm just saying in relation to, I think just as a benchmark, it just gives us an idea of, how I mean, number one, it could support your proposal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, data, could support what you're saying. And so I don't think it would necessarily change anything, but I think it puts it in perspective on, what the rest of states or the counties are doing in the state.
Okay.
Just gives you reference points is all I'm saying.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, are we voting on this tonight?
I mean, if somebody makes a motion, we would, so.
I just wanna make sure before I give my 3 cents. So, excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Jim, do you have a, and I'm sure we don't have a graphic artist that did this, but, have you got a way that we could know where people are in these precincts and like where you divide the city in half, basically? Is that-
Well,
or
and
is the bulk of the voters gonna be in the north half of the western precinct? Or are they gonna be in I mean, I'm just looking at where the voters are and asking where the voters are, and, I assume you took that into, you did all this research.
right. Well, are you looking for a figure as to where voters are by precinct, or where they are on the map?
Where they, like, on your map, where you divided the precincts, how you divided the city in half.
So I really wanted, real quick, let me just say this because it's important. I didn't just look at the city and divide it in half. What I did was I followed existing precinct lines so that we weren't, you could just look at it and say, we're consolidating these 3 precincts right here into one. And it wasn't a crossover and taking like a part of an existing precinct.
Okay, I
So-
understand that, but the practical effect is that you divided the city in half.
Okay.
Because you took the
Mhm.
precincts, you found the precincts on either side of a line that went north and south in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess was just curious where the voters are in each half of the city.
Okay. Well, and that's a good question. I'm just thinking about it. Let's go back to the city current.
Wouldn't so the precincts were already set up with pretty much historically, based off the total number of like registered voters, right? Not people that actually are showing up
Right.
to vote, right?
Mhm.
So, if you took 6 precincts and you split that in half, then roughly you would have about half and half there, right?
And I do want to make a yes, but working with GIS, of course, they look at residences. I look at registered voters, but you can look at both. And if you're looking at, if we can go to the proposal for the city real quick, the next slide. If you look at that, the left side has approximately 6,000, a little over 6,000 residences. Okay, the right side, which the proposal is to be precinct 2, has about a little over 4,000. I think it's 4.2. So there was a difference there. But in meeting with GIS, if you look at precinct 2, the northern part of precinct 2, there are already apartment complexes that are in the works for the city of Griffin that is going to bring close to the amount of your west precinct of the city of Griffin. I just think that's an interesting or a good fact for everyone to know as far as residents compared to residents, because when you get down to it, that goes to voter registration to voter registration.
Did you use the what are you saying, GIS?
GIS.
Yeah, did
Yeah.
you use that in drawing your proposal?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I guess the reason I'm asking this because I know from experience
Mm-hmm.
that, because I went through
Gerrymandering.
it was gerrymandering. I went through
That's
reinforcement
opinion.
in the legislature, and I
Mhm.
know that, those computer things, they're so exact that you can, shift the line maybe half an inch, and you've shifted, enough people to determine whether or not you got a majority Democrat or a majority Republican in a district, for instance.
Yeah, we didn't look at party at all.
Well, I
No.
know, I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah.
you
This
use
is
GIS, you can determine, you can change, so
Yeah.
just in terms of raw numbers.
that there has never been a part, and I have a total of 13 years of election experience, and all my redistricting experience working with GIS never. Yes, can the state break down, and we can even look at precincts as far as ethnicity or what have you. But we have never used that as a basis for our foundation for developing a precinct
Well, I wouldn't ask,
So-
I don't think you do, I was just asking in terms of.
or
just raw
party,
numbers,
right?
You know, that you can shift raw numbers, but just moving a line.
Okay, well, let me be clear. I work with GIS, an actual contractor who we have contracted with even before me, and with the city of Griffin, Brian Hayes. I've worked with him, and his expertise is in maps. He has been doing this for a very, very long time with election maps, and oh, I mean, he's done other maps too, but for us, it's been election maps. But so yes, this was not done by me as far as working with GIS because that's not my expertise. So I seek out the expertise in that. But as far as deciding where that line is drawn, yes, I did make that decision where the line is drawn based on what is available to us to serve the public and serve them well while saving the taxpayers' money. Have I answered all? I just want to make sure.
I think Dexter's got something.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a few questions. I'm gonna start with Stephanie. Is there any sort of notice requirement that we have to?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
there is. So, and we've had to do that before when, and it, has to publish in the newspaper. This would not be for.
Oh, and to be, and I did not say that. It is not for the November election at all. This would not take place or go into effect if the board approved it till January 1. And we would just be ready to notify, but it's a 60-day notice that you, and she can tell you more in depth, but it is a 60-day notice to the voters. And,
Okay.
Yep.
That's one question. A few more. First is in terms of comprehensive planning. I love the fact that you're consolidating precincts, but I think as a board, thinking forward, we shouldn't just think about savings. We should think about where the savings go. And so I think we need to keep in mind that if we have savings, we need to look at some sort of cost of living increase for staff and for workers, because that's how we're going to keep our people here. And so if we're saving $25,000, we need to think about what does that mean? How are we able to keep our qualified staff? That's one. Two, and this sort of goes to what Lee is talking about, and that is, I think we need to be proactive in keeping down as much confusion as possible. And I think the board shouldn't take an action on this until we do some sort of public hearing that we're talking about doing a consolidation. Because if we don't, if we take action, then we're going to have a room full of people coming out here talking about, well, we didn't even know y'all was talking about consolidating districts, precincts, and then you're going to have the people talking about, well, now I got to drive 6 miles and I got to drive 4 miles. So I think that as a board, we should face that head on before we even talk about taking a vote. So we give the public the opportunity to come out and voice their opinion on this change, because especially with our more seasoned voters, you start talking about changing precincts, some of them gonna lose their mind. That's just the reality of it, because some people have voted in the same church for the last 30 or 40 years, and now you're gonna tell them they gotta go to another church.
Next, I've been voting in the experiment station since I started voting here.
But I'm saying that if they changed it,
do it anymore.
but the reality of it is, we don't want a room full of screaming people up here. Who can say, well, you guys consolidated the precincts and we didn't have anything to say about it. So I just think, there are a lot of stuff, there are a lot of things we can do to minimize confusion. And that I think one way is you make the public involved in it up front, let them know, with a public hearing. And then the last thing, Kim, is that I want you to think about, as you're going through building this budget, to add in some sort of public campaign to educate the voters on these changes that starts in 2026. Even if you're just running it every week or every month in the newspaper, saying, hey, we consolidate these election precincts, so in November, this is where you're going to vote. Because if you wait to 60 days or 30 days out, everybody's like, when did this happen? So we do it as part of a campaign.
And we do, just as you know, because it's required by law, so we do that. Just want to make sure.
But it can be done more times.
Yes,
be
and
done
I
more
was gonna
times.
add to that.
Yeah,
I was just saying we
yeah.
do.
The more times we do it, the more we can say, look, we posted this thing 12 times. If you got 100 people in here, 100 people come here and start complaining about we didn't know. Well, we ran it in the newspaper 12 times. We had it on our website ever since February. We made this known that we're consolidating precincts, so that people, so they can't come in and be like, they don't know that this is happening.
So Dexter, just respectfully, like, I bet that's gonna happen regardless of what we do and how many hearings and how much stuff we post and all the things.
I was
But
gonna say the same thing, but at least, we can say as a board, this is what we tried to do. Because I think what that does is it just promotes, especially when we get to not necessarily next year's election, but the election after that, the presidential election, not the midterm, but the presidential. Because now, people who don't vote in the midterms, who now decide to vote in the presidential election, who don't even, it's going to be 2 years, and they're still thinking they're going to their old precinct, but now it's a new precinct, and now you end up with 1,000 people over here, then they found out they're not supposed to be there, and then they're at the new precinct, and next thing you know, we got this whole issue about keeping the polls open because people went to one precinct, and that precinct is no longer there. That's where the confusion is going to come in.
So I want to just interject a few things in response to that. I totally agree with the more advertisement of it and doing all we can more than that's been done in the past to make people aware. But I should have had this on the list. But also, there are other reasons. Sometimes I just want to make you aware. Precinct 6 on election day, this last election, I was called and there was a leak coming down on the opposite side of the wall where the voting machines were. So that building, and I'm sure the county is addressing that as good as as they can, while trying to save the taxpayers' money. But those are things we can't afford. Also, I want to say that we see the voter, we wait on the voter, we hear the voter, and more times, extremely more times, I would say 9 to 1, the voters that walk in the precinct, that walk into our office on election day, they think they're at their voting precinct, because guess what? They advance voted last election and the election before. They just so happened didn't get around to it this time, and they're on the way to the precinct, and they think we're their precinct. So, yes, you are going to have those that have voted there 30, 40 years, but I am seeing, and I've been around long enough to see that is going away little by little. When we combined Precinct 9 and Precinct 17 into 9, not really that long ago, I think it was 2023, 2024 maybe. But anyway, no complaints whatsoever. People were fine. And they were glad because you know what? They were in a much, much better place. Before they were in a gym. Now they were in a big, they were in a gym also, but they were in a church's gym and just much nicer, roomy, not noisy. And so I just want you to know, remember that we are on the side, that we hear the voter and we see things and we're taking all of that into account. So, yeah.
Kim, my questions, I didn't mean to question, the fact that you hadn't done your research. I appreciate it.
No, I didn't think that.
One question I have, and it has nothing to do with this, it's just timing. Is it going to be confusing to the voters to have all this publicity about changing the precincts before November?
Right before November.
Well, you can always.
You said right before November. Shouldn't we maybe wait until after the city elections?
Yeah.
That's a possibility, but we needed to discuss it now, so at least this gets us rolling.
You could hold your public hearing in December if you wanted to go that route.
So
And still vote in
So let's go back, I mean, so this, we don't have to wait on, like, this doesn't have to happen by January 1st or anything, right? First of all, right?
Are you saying, does it have to happen?
You're right, there's no, like,
No, but I want it, if the board's going to vote for it, or vote on it, and it is approved, I want it to be as soon into the new year as possible, so that we can do exactly what was suggested and inform the public continuously, so there are no surprises when the May primary rolls around.
all right, so, and then there's a 60-day, so backing off of whenever the, precinct mergers go, or active or whatever, right? So, but there's a 60-day notice, and then after that, okay, so we're backing off 2 months. So if we wait until after November's election, that would be December hearings. Then we could call a special meeting in December, or
You could vote at the same meeting
At
in
the same meeting.
December that you had your public hearing,
there we go. Okay,
or you could vote in January.
okay. I would.
When you talk about, Stephanie, when you talk about public hearings, I'm not familiar with legal or whatever, but, is there any reason why we couldn't have the public hearing before we voted to adopt the plan?
That's what I think. That's what you just said was in December. That basically could be. It would basically be a meeting like this, but where we could actually recognize folks.
Yeah, but I mean,
You would,
maybe your mind works that fast, but if I'm sitting here and I hear 100 people out there give me their opinions, in order to digest what those opinions are, I'm not gonna be prepared to vote on that plan that night.
Okay, I thought you were asking if it was possible for us to have a hearing and vote the same night, but you're saying that you would
I'm
you
saying
would
I'd rather
prefer.
have the hearing, like, even have the hearing, have a hearing sometime after the city elections in November, if we're gonna vote on it in December.
you could vote in
Okay.
January as well.
Right,
You're
right.
not,
In
if
fact,
you,
but as you were talking about vacations, there are worse times to have public hearings than, no worse time to have a public hearing than in December. Everybody's trying to get ready for Christmas.
All right, so I mean I'm
Maybe if you had it in early November, or, mid-November, that'd be well before Thanksgiving, and obviously well before Christmas, to have the public hearing, and then have the elected, have the vote. What do you want it in December, January? I don't know.
okay. So if we got all our ducks in a row, so we'd have a 60-day notice or whatever, and that would be done before, say, March or April. That would
Yes.
be fine, right?
Yes, that would be good, and that gives us plenty of room also, or time also to continuously educate and put it out there in any way that we can find. We have now, just quickly, in filling this position, we've kept our Facebook up to date pretty good, but we're getting that back rolling. We've got Twitter going, and we've got Instagram going also as well. So we'll keep, and those will be resources that we use also for this type of thing.
So Dexter, appreciate the heck out of your comments. Like that's, I think we do need to get public involvement, and I would rather hear it up front, and be able to say, well, we posted it 1,000,000 times, and we've had a public hearing, and so there's nothing there. Like the idea about repurposing money. So Kim, that's something as a takeaway. I know we don't. I know it's been argued about whether or not the board has carte blanche to be able to repurpose payroll or whatever. It kind of seems like an ambiguous area, but I think that would be somewhere that I'd appreciate you looking to see if there is something that can be done. And yeah, based off of that, I'm thinking, I would rather do it in December than wait until January, but up to you guys really as far as, do you have any other comments as far as process and
yeah,
timing?
so my preference for it would not be to necessarily call it a public hearing, because that puts people in mind of zoning kind of things, but it would just be, we're looking to take action either in December or in January on this particular issue, and would like to hear public comment. And you would follow your same public comment rules of 3 minutes. It's not them asking
citizens comment.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
basically what we do before,
Mhm.
we'll just have probably more people than tonight signed up for it.
When I came in and saw these people, I was like, what's going on? We having a protest or something?
It's all about Mary.
I even knew it, it took me a minute, so, this is like back in like 21. Um, okay, well, I mean, I feel like, we kind of are in agreement on the plan. I don't know if we actually need a motion and everything to.
I just want to add
to-
one more
to get
one
things
more
scheduled.
thing.
Go ahead, Kim.
And if, just to plant the seed going forward, I'm a citizen of Spalding County too, and I have opinions, and I've made public comment before. But also remember that, yes, we should listen to those things. We should listen to citizens of our county, of our city, and take those things in. And I'm not above of, is there something that I'm not seeing, possibly. But at the same time, you as the board do have a responsibility, and I know you know this, but I'm reminding you, to provide the best for our voters in Spalding County, and to just want to make sure that that is the foundation of anything going forward.
There's no requirement that we have this public hearing on the night of a board meeting.
No, we can,
you can have a special.
yeah, we can have a special call meeting for that, if we wanted to have yet another meeting, so.
Okay,
What-
we'll
what-
make a motion.
Okay,
That we have the public hearing in mid-November and vote on the plan in December, if that's people's preference, or January. January at the latest, but I really prefer to do it, like a month or so, a couple of weeks after we had the public hearing.
okay, so if everybody on the board's in agreement with that, I don't even know if we need a motion.
Okay, well,
I knew, right, so, I mean, I'm in agreement with that. Everybody,
Can we set a date?
well, that's what we're getting to next.
Okay.
We're
all right.
agreeing on the concept, and then we're gonna get into specifics.
Okay, just remember that, I don't have it in front of me, but the November meeting due to the election will be,
Will be in a week.
a
from the
week, about a
next.
week, about the Monday after, because of certification.
And-
So, and I do have a little bit of time on the calendar to take
So,
off.
right,
and so the elections board will be on the 11th.
The-
If the election's on the 4th,
Sir,
the board meeting will be on the 11th.
it's on the 10th.
on the 10th.
I mean, on the
Well,
10th, yeah.
no, as long as that's not veterans, I think we're fine. Veterans Day, 11th, Tuesday. Okay. All right, then we should be fine.
So then we just have
So
to,
do
The
we move
10th.
into the next week?
Calendar. So the 10th is a Monday. I'm just confirming.
Right.
10th is a Monday.
Mhm.
so we
Okay.
have the public hearing on the 17th, 18th,
You could not have it on the 17th because that's a regular Board of Commissioners meeting.
or what about the 18th?
I'm not sure about the availability of this room, but there's not a Board of Commissioners meeting on the 18th.
Why don't we just check, get Kim to check availability for that week? And, if we can get it done that, I mean, honestly, moving into the next week, we've
You
got,
can't move into the next week,
Right.
that's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, next week is Thanksgiving, that's fine, okay.
so I think it needs to be that week if it's gonna be mid-November.
If we could move I know normally we have the certification meetings, at the office. If we could make it work to have the certification meeting here, and publicize the public hearing, is that a
I'm good with
possibility?
that. It just
I'm on
be
the
that-
I just
time.
think we need to,
Be at the same time,
during
during the
It's
day
just
too.
during the day instead of in the evening.
That works for
You
me.
have public hearing during the day or the certification during the day? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Public comment and certification.
Both in the same
They'd
meeting.
be the same meeting.
meeting. And we have to do it at 10 because our deadline's 5. I say at 10, it could be 11, but I'm just saying it has to be because our deadline's 5.
I'm not sure that'd work then, if you do it at the same time. You have to do the certification during the daytime, because, you wanna have public hearings in the evening where you can get the biggest crowd possible. And for people who work, they can't come at 10 o'clock in the morning to a public hearing.
Well, we can always come back that night if
6
it's
o'clock.
available.
6 o'clock that night?
6 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yeah. And our meeting, our certification meeting's gonna be at 10 o'clock in the morning. write these down, I forget them.
I'll send you an email.
Well, unless your guy calls me, sets up my computer for me, my email for me, I won't get it. He didn't call today.
All right,
Hey, Kim, I do recommend, so the military calls this a POAM, Plan of Action and Milestones. And I would recommend just what, Ben was trying to do is to backwards plan. And if we could see that, it's a timeline with all the key objectives and milestones on that, I think it would be good for us to have that visual. I mean, it's not for that,
No, that's okay.
not for the
Will
public
you
meeting.
refresh me real quick on what you shared?
yeah, sure, so, if we're, if your D-Day was, if you needed to be March or February 15th or whatever, we're backing off, like, this is the last date for publication of notice, here's proposed hearing,
Okay.
here's proposed day that we're gonna vote, just basic timeline.
Okay.
With
And
all,
it could be-
with
it could be
all your
more.
advertisements, I mean, what, I mean, you don't have to do the sausage making tonight, but just, all the key stuff that you have to do.
Then also folding in the, additional, the, legal notices we're already doing, but then also, hey, we're gonna do.
This,
X
and that on
number
this, and,
plus
okay.
Facebook post plus, basically comms plan and, the POAM, is that what?
POAM, Plan of Action and
All
Milestones.
right, I'm gonna start using that. Yeah, okay.
I'll send you an example,
Timeline's good.
and then you just change the date on it.
There we go. All right, horse dead, have we stomped it? All right, good. All right, we've got no new business, board member comments. Chris, you wanna start?
Hey, just thanks a lot. I did want to just echo, Mary is such a joy, and no matter what the business is, she is so sweet, and so I'm glad you guys honored her tonight. Yeah, yeah.
Top notch. Top notch. You hear what I'm saying? Best of the best.
It is.
Twofold. One, Mary, we love you, and we appreciate everything you do for us. And Kim, this is a great plan, and I didn't mean to sound negative about it,
No,
but I
it's fine.
appreciate all your hard work for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was great. Love all the colors,
Gotta find a way to make it fun.
I only had like one question, so you only confused me one time, so that was really good. But no, I mean, it's to me, like, this is pretty much a no-brainer. The only the positioning of new precinct 8's polling place is probably going to be the only thing that we hear any public comment on. And I think Chris's point, and which I think you've made before, as far as it moved once and people are already going that far. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of trouble there. So really appreciate you doing all the legwork and data work and making the case that way. Makes our jobs a whole lot easier too.
I hope so.
And welcome Stephanie and Mary. Thank you for sticking around for 5. It seems longer than that, doesn't it? I don't know. It seems. I think I've aged about a decade while I've been up here. So, and with that, I don't have anything else. I appreciate everybody. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Chris on it. Lee second. All in favor? All right, we stand adjourned. 7:19, 7:20. Good job, everybody.